There was a time in the 2010s when My Little Pony was everywhere. What started off as just an 80s toy fad for young girls became an overnight sensation when Friendship is Magic launched on the air in 2010. Throughout its course, everyone from little girls to a surprising amount of young adult males became enamored by its stunning animation, fantastic lore, and especially the lovable characters. But much like any other show, the love slowly lost steam by the time the show ended in 2019. But when exactly did this seasonal rut seem to start? Some say it's when Twilight got her wings, some say it was when Starlight got reformed, others say it fell off with the introduction of the Friendship School. But as for me, I'd say the downward spiral started to show with the feature film adaptation in 2017. Not that this was the worst per se, but when I saw this in the theaters back in the day, I felt severely disappointed by what it could have been. A disappointment which only grew over time the more I actually knew about the pony lore. I mean, a movie about Twilight and her friends going where no pony has gone before to save the land sounded like a no-brainer, but I was just bombarded by all these dumb moments that helplessly pile on his back, causing it to drag his ass toward the end credits. And we're gonna go over the top 10 of these dumb moments here today. But before we get to it, let's go over an honorable mention. Now this was an honorable mention because it's not necessarily the film's fault, but it's still something that's been bugging me. What's with the PG rating? I've seen this movie at least 3 times and I haven't seen anything that'll even upset little kids in the audience. Pretty much nothing that the old school Disney movies have gotten away with. I wouldn't mind so much, except the show itself has gotten away with much, much worse.
Imbeciles! You ruined everything!
Number 10. Naturally, when a cartoon like this goes from television to the silver screen, the animation is given a facelift to make it look more cinematic. More cinematic shading, more dynamic colors, etc, etc. And most of the time here, that seems to be the case, except for one little detail. Why the need to redesign the characters? The Generation 4 art style has been seen as cute, iconic, and easily recognizable. You take one look at Rainbow Dash and you instantly recognize it. So why fix what was already perfect? Something about the expanded irises and rounded facial features makes me think they were trying to make them look more baby-faced. Seriously, am I the only one who's bothered by this? Apparently so, because they were later used the baby-faced art style in the Rainbow Road Trip special. So I guess it's just a me thing. Number 9. All these damn pop culture references. Now I know the original show had those too, but they were usually subtle, almost in the background. Here it's like every few minutes it wants to bombard the audience by saying, hey, remember this other thing that exists? Here it is in this movie.
But they're always hungry.
Hungry? Hippos?
Yeah, their faces pretty much say it all. I mean, did the writers seriously think the movie wasn't funny enough so they had to resort to these cheap references just for the sake of cheap giggle?
Y'all sure y'all want the hippos? Not like the queen of the lions, or tigers, or bears?
Oh my. That's a choice.
Number 8. By the end of the second act, the Storm King's second-in-command, Tempest Shadow, reveals what made her turn her back on friendship. You see, when she was a filly, she accidentally stumbled across a bear that attacked her and took her horn, causing her magic to become unstable and her friends to flee from her. That's all fine and dandy, except she forgot to explain one little detail. What made her want to join forces with the Storm King in the first place? Was there really anything about him that made him so trustworthy? I mean, look at him. He's big, selfish, scary, for the most part, we'll get to it later, and seems like he doesn't care at all about getting their life back together. Maybe if he treated her like the father she never had, or even gave her some technology to restore her magic, shameless plug. But really thinking about it, I don't think Tempest had a need to join the Storm King after all. It just seems rather stupid of her. Number 7. Besides Starlight and Twilight, the main character with the most amount of development has gotta be Fluttershy. Starting out as kind-hearted but shy and timid, she's slowly proven herself to be more assertive and willing to stand up for herself and her friends as the series went on, cementing herself to be just as worthy to save Equestria as her companions. So, what does she do in this movie?
Nothing! Absolutely nothing!
I'm not kidding. It's almost like the writers completely forgot about her character arc, so they just relegated her to a season 1 counterpart. Always timid, always cowardly, always hiding wherever something scary happens. Hell, she doesn't even think to use the stare at the minions at least once. And yes, he does talk one of them down in the climax, but it's only for a few seconds, and in this hour-and-a-half movie, it's just too little too late. Seriously, could a portrayal get even more degrading?
See how shy I am? I talk to animals, I want to marry Discord.
Next one. Number 6. Michael Pena. Just Michael Pena. Everything about this character as Tempest's sidekick is just so irritating. I wouldn't mind him so much if he just had a few lines, but it's clear they trusted him too much in that recording booth, like they let him ad-lib one too many lines every single scene he's in.
Oh, Fishman just got dropped! Oh, you're gonna go in a skiff, which is a boat. Specifically, a airboat.
Even in scenes that are fine without the dialogue, here he comes to ruin the moment.
Which one of you guys are going down there? I would, but I just had a hearty meal, and I will think, and I will thy
Shut up! Shut the f***!
You're very big bone.
Shut up! Will you shut up? Shut up! Shut up!
I think quick.
Shut up!
It's come to the point where you look at Tempest's face, even she's sick of his blabbering bullshit.
It looks like a crackly chipped tooth on the top of your head. And you know you don't look good at hands.
One more word out of you, and I'm telling your agent to put you in another Tom and Jerry movie. Aw, come on, Tempest. That movie wasn't that bad. I mean, that Steve Bartman scene was pure cinema right there. Number 5. Throughout the movie, the Storm King has been built up as this big booming threat that can overpower all of Equestria in one fell swoop. Think of it as this universe Thanos or Darkseid. But once we actually get to meet him...
Where am I supposed to be looking? I never understand how this spell works.
No. Not even close. I guess they were trying to make him like Hades in the Disney Hercules, but here's the thing. With Disney's Hercules, that movie established a quirky and tongue-in-cheek view of Greek mythology, so naturally, Hades was made to be quirky and tongue-in-cheek. Here, everything in this movie seems so straightforward, so seeing him like this is just so jarring. He wants to take over the world, but he doesn't seem to care about anything. He's power-hungry, but he doesn't have any motivation to do any of this. All I'm saying is, you can make him dark and threatening like Tyrek, or you can make him silly like Discord. And if you want to do both, find the right balance, because here, it just makes your feeling about as memorable as a movie Reminiscence. Seriously, does anyone even remember that movie? Number 4. At the start of the third act, the bulk of the main characters seem stranded on the Hippogriff Island until their pirate friends drop by alongside Princess Skyscar at the Hippogriffs, who sneaks out to join her new friends. And the next time we see them, they seem to have made their way back to St. Camelot once and for all. How? Number 1. The ponies made their way to the island through this homemade hot air balloon, but that's not even big enough to carry them all. Number 2. The pirate ship got destroyed, so did they actually swim all the way to the island? And may I remind you, Twilight got captured and brought back to Camelot through Tempest's very fast airship, so how did everyone fly over there just as quickly? And yes, a possible explanation is this magical orb the Hippogriffs used to turn to sea creatures, but it would have been nice if they just showed it instead of us implying it. And while I'm on the subject of this scene, number 3. Remember how Twilight and Friends' main motive was to find the Hippogriff army and convince them to join forces to stop the Storm King? That's a legitimate question, because it seems like the riots don't. When they actually get to the Hippogriffs, they make it very clear they don't want to help. And no matter how much our heroes try to convince them, they don't even change their minds. They just let the one princess sneak out to help them, and then they just appear in the final scene like, hey, congrats on saving Equestria. Sexually didn't get to help. Honestly, after making such a big deal about getting the Hippogriffs to help, only to not use them, it just makes the whole journey halfway across the land almost pointless. Now, some may make the argument that part of the reason they didn't trust the ponies is because Twilight tried to backstab them by stealing the magic word for herself. But wouldn't it make for an emotionally compelling moment if they decide to stand by the new friends anyway? And that, unfortunately, leads me to my next point. Number 2. Throughout the course of the show, Twilight Sparkle, through a continuous path of friendship, has earned not just the trust of her friends and being one of the very rare ponies to undergo alicornism, but has stood the test of time as one of the defining examples of what it means to be a hero for Equestria and an ambassador for friendship as a whole. So if you're as much of a fan of hers as I am, I bet we're asking the same question.
Who are you and what have you done with Twilight Sparkle?
Seriously, does anything that I have said even apply to this character who looks like Twilight and sounds like Twilight but is not Twilight? Gone is the sternness and confidence she's been gained and is replaced by this bumbling idiot who worries about everything half the time. She's dedicated her life to making friends regardless of background or species, but she doesn't even trust a cat who saved their lives. Like, at all. She's cowardly, untrustworthy, easy to give up, and is so incompetent in her relationship with her main group of friends that she disregards everything just to stab everyone with the back by trying to steal the orb without even consoling everyone. Honestly, that scene pretty much sums it up. I don't think I need to explain anything else. There is nothing else she could do or even say in this movie that would make this the biggest case of character assassination in this franchise. Oh, just play the clip already.
Well, maybe I would have been better off without friends like you!
Storm King, do your thing. Thank you. At least you're good for one thing. Number 1. Now, before I explain my number 1, I have a bit of a confession. When I first saw this movie when it first came out, I was admittedly rather naive in terms of my MLP knowledge, having only seen the first few seasons at that point. So if I had made this video back then, chances are my number 2 would have been an easy number 1. But after catching up with the show afterwards, I came across an even more glaring issue with this movie, and it can be boiled down to 5 simple words. Where the hell is Starlight? Ever since her reformation at the end of Season 5, Starlight Glimmer has slowly grown to be just as powerful in Twilight and Friends' quest for friendship as the ponies who took her as their very own. And an argument can be made she's become just as much of a main character as Twilight is, slowly learning to forgive everyone, including herself, after the fall with her former friend and her days being an anti-cutie mark leader, to the point of saving the Crystal Empire after the Crystal Heart incident, as well as forming a resistance when Ponyville was reprehended by Chrysalis' army. And here they just reduced her to a 2-second cameo? Really? And this really frustrates me because something tells me a good amount of Twilight's role was supposed to be Starlight's. I mean, think about it. Don't you see Starlight having anxiety regarding the party? Doesn't she seem like a better fit to not trust Capper even after he'd saved everyone? And yes, don't you even see her going behind everyone's back and stealing the orb, leading to her lashing out at her friends and causing such a fallout between them until they inevitably come back together at the end? So because of this, Twilight still has her spine, and Starlight has her ultimate realization that cements her role not as a former enemy, but as one of the main heroes of Equestria. At this point, that kind of goes without saying. So those were the top 10 dumbest My Little Pony movie moments. And regardless of all those moments, this actually isn't all too bad. It's still got plenty of colors and action for kids, a decent amount of drama for adults, and a fair amount of fan service for hardcore bronies and Pegasisters. So if you haven't seen the show and are the least bit curious about how this one will turn out, I say see it at least once. But believe me when I say the more you actually know about these characters, the more you'll be scratching your head at certain moments. And trust me, the series gets much, much worse after this. Trust me, those last 2 seasons alone probably warrant its own top 10 down the line.